up, we have men's singles with Kieran Merrilees of Scotland against Hans-Kristian Vittinghus, the number 14 seed from Denmark. Then, of course, we've got the defending champion, Carolina Marin, the number 1 seed, the left-hander, up against T-Jing-E. And then another women's singles after that, Okuhara, who, of course, won the World Junior Championships in Chiba in Japan in 2012. She's up against Ponte Budranaprasatsu of Thailand. So those are our upcoming matches. As far as the men's singles is concerned, Kieran Merrilees against Hans-Kristian Vittinghus. This is the fourth quarter of the draw. So right down at the bottom, Kieran Merrilees unseeded against the number 14 seed Hans-Kristian Vittinghus. Winner of this match will play against Sho Sasaki, who, if you were with us earlier, you would have seen come through against Pochtorev of Ukraine. Well, you can see after Praveen Jordan did thunder into the net there, the tournament referee and our court attendants busily adjusting the net and making sure it's the right height. So I'm going to push you for at least one answer, Steen, on our here we go. Here's another section of the draw, and this is from the, where are we here?
In the third quarter. And of course the big upset there is Rogalski of Poland beating Kenichi Targo of Japan. Kenichi Targo, one of the former top 10 players. I think he reached number 4 in the world ranking at one stage. So a huge upset there with Targo. And congratulations to Mikhail Rogalski of Poland. Close first game. Very comfortable in the second. Hu Yun of Hong Kong, he's safely through as well, the seed. And Su Jian Hao from Taipei also safely through. So this is the section where we are concentrating. This, you can see the 5-time world champion Lin Dan. He's safely through. That was played earlier this morning, as indeed were all these matches in the bottom half of the men's singles draw of 64 in all disciplines, of course. So this match we're about to watch is the last of the matches to complete the first round in this section of the draw. So here come the players, led out by Kieran Merrilees, 25-year-old from Glasgow. Lives part of the time in Milton Keynes, training with the Great Britain squad at the National Training Centre, England National Training Centre in Milton Keynes. He'll turn 26 next month and has stated his ambition to play in both the Commonwealth Games, which he's already achieved, and the Olympic Games as well. So he's up against the number 14 seed, Hans-Kristian Vittinghus, 29 years of age, from Friedrichshafen, have I pronounced that correctly? Almost. Yeah, that's actually very good. That's much better than people who live there themselves.
I'm not sure about that, but you're very kind, Steve. So our umpire, his first duty, the toss of the coin. Now, did you see who won that toss?
No, I didn't see it.
No, it was a bit difficult to see, wasn't it? Because obviously with the drift that we've been talking about endlessly over the first day and a half so far, the drift does play a big part in matches. And therefore, the choice of ends are very important. Well, he's 104 at the moment. He has been as high as 65. And as I say, 25 years of age, though in September next month, he'll turn 26. very good all-round athlete. A couple of semi-finals already this year, the Portuguese international and the French international, where he had to come through the qualifying. As far as Vittinghus is concerned, the number 14 seed, well, he's been inside the top 10, was ranked 8th for a total of 11 weeks, starting in September last year and finishing, it was 2 different spells, in January this year. So one would think from the rankings and from the seeding that the Dane should be the overwhelming favourite. Of course, the Dane has been in 1 final so far this year from the 8 tournaments he's played, the US Grand Prix Gold event. Now, the only time they've met previously was in the group stage of those European Men's Team Championships. It went the full distance, went to 3 games, and if that wasn't up for long enough, because I barely had time to read it, I can give you the score once again, which was 14-21, 21-16 and 21-8 as we look at our court officials for this match. Really in the prime of their physical capabilities. Vittinghus, well, crikey, there was a few years ago, wasn't there, when his place was in doubt in the national team. And the head coach, which I hasten to add was not my co-commentator at the time, was threatening with throwing him out of the national squad. That was back in 2011, but he reached the quarter-final of the World Championships at Wembley Arena, lost out to Chen Jin, who, of course, at those World Championships was defending champion, because Chen Jin had won the gold medal in Paris the year before, and having reached the quarter-final, he was reprieved and allowed to stay in the squad. And I have to say, since then, he's gone from strength to strength and been a top 10 player. Thank goodness he wasn't thrown out.
Yeah, and a very strong Superseries finals player. He's done extremely well.
Ladies and gentlemen,
in at least 2 Superseries finals tournaments,
Kieran,
as far as I remember.
And that's right. Reached the final of the Superseries finals of 2014 in Dubai, of course, lost out to Chen Long in the final there, and previous to the semi-final. So here we go. Men's singles first round encounter. What a good start by Kieran Merrilees. I was mentioning, Steen, that he's a very good all-round athlete. When he was a schoolboy, he was good enough to represent west of Scotland in football. But chose the sport of badminton. We're very grateful for that.
Yeah, definitely.
Luck of the net cord, and of course
Kieran
Merrilees had a huge result at the European Mixed Team Championships earlier this year when he beat Dieter Dornka in 3 games, and that set up a 3-2 victory for Scotland over Germany, who were the defending European Mixed Team Champions. It really was a fantastic result under pressure. Just wide, good judgment.
Service over 2-all.
Now, obviously, Steen, you know Vittinghus a lot better than I do. I do know that he's an utterly charming man, a real gentleman on court, and by all accounts, very nice off court as well. His style of play, to me, is the number of times I watch him play. He's so physical, he will chase everything down. I wouldn't be at all surprised if we see him hurl himself across court in an effort to retrieve a shuttle. But to me, I'd like to see him being a little more adventurous in his style.
Yeah, I think it's best to be able to mix it up a little bit, and I know that's what he's been working on. There's a tendency that when when you are at the big events or the big occasions that you sort of fall back a little bit in your old playing style, and he's been working very hard to get rid of that as a service fault here.
Service over, 3-5.
Struck above the waist.
Yeah. He's been working really hard to get rid of that, and he's been working mentally. And if we get a picture later on of the two persons on the Danish coaching chairs, we'll see Kenneth Jonassen, the assistant national coach, and then we'll see the sports cyclist from the sports psychologist from Team Denmark, which is the umbrella organization supporting Danish top sports people.
5.
He's been working with Jakob Hansen for like a couple of years now. Did that cross, or did he touch the net?
4.
I couldn't really see it from here. Oh,
He just missed it.
he missed it.
He missed it. About, you know, my desire to see him being a little more adventurous. Are you saying that perhaps at the age of 29 he knows and he understands that if he only plays a physical game, his age is working against him on that. But that is his natural style, so trying to be adventurous is sort of a little alien to him.
Yeah, it is, and he needs to sort of develop skills that he hasn't used so much throughout his career, and even if he's used them or practiced them, he hasn't really used them that much in match play, and to be able to sort of disregard this belief you have that it might not work and still do it in match play, that's really difficult for a lot of players. And I've had some discussions with Hans about, for instance, the Danish media commenting on Caroline Wozniacki in tennis, where they seem that they don't understand that it's not easy. It's not like nobody's telling them that they need to develop certain skills. But if it was easy, everybody would do it.
Yeah.
It's still really, really hard.
Yeah. And I suppose this is where the development of skills, while players are still in their informative years, where it's easier to develop skills when you get into the habit of, it's like a golfer later on trying to change their swing. It's desperately difficult.
Yeah. Because you've done the other things so many times.
Yeah.
So you're sort of programmed.
Well, that's beautiful. Lovely shot.
Yeah.
Held up by the drift.
9-6.
Very good start for Merrilees here, and one of the question marks is the fitness of Vittinghus. Normally it's not a question, but it is today because he skipped a practice a couple of days ago. Had some problems with his back during the familiarization training here in Istorisanajan.
Service
Suddenly,
over, 7-9.
something went into lock, and he's experienced it before, and normally it's gone by a day or two, but I haven't spoken to him and asked whether he was all right or something like that, because I think we'll eventually get the answer in this match, but I think he'll avoid throwing himself if
Yeah, that's interesting.
he can at all.
8-9.
This, of course, is his 4th World Championships, and that quarter-final in London in 2011 was his best so far.
And really gave him some self-confidence.
Yeah.
And sort of lifted his game to another level, and had struggled in the beginning of this year, but reached the final in US Open, and to sort of explain how small the margins are, he was down with match point in the first match of that US Open.
Against
Service over.
Exactly.
10-8.
So
in fact, he saved 2 match points.
He saved 2 match points, and it's really hard to lose that match and come out and say, hey, I have the potential to go to the final here. Most people would have shaken their heads in disbelief and say, you don't have that possibility. Yeah. And earlier on this summer, he lost twice to Shrikant Kidambi. Both matches was setting in third game. So it's of course really hard to lose those kind of matches, especially in the Olympic qualification period. But you also have to be satisfied that you have the level to beat Shrikant, because when it's that close,
that was going miles wide. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, it was going quite a bit wide. So when it's so close that it's only 2 points dividing, it's actually quite a bit of luck.
Yeah.
So you should actually evaluate in the same way, no matter whether you win or lose, if it's just by 2 points in the third game.
Yeah. Well, in fact, those 2 occasions that he lost to Shrikant that you've been talking about in the first round of Australia and here in Indonesia. In Australia, he had 4 match points. Here in this very stadium, he had 1 match point before eventually losing. That is a tough first round draw, my goodness me.
And the really interesting thing is that he sort of changed his game plan when he had these 4 match points. So he knows what he did wrong. So can he sort of make up for it if he gets that chance later on?
Yeah. Well, he's battled back from a deficit to have the advantage. But one has to say that's a good start by Kieran Merrilees, his coach Chris Ball, former Dutch #1 and singles player. Yeah, that's good disguise. Well, I have to say, looking at this, Steen, there's no sign, to me, you know him better than me, of that back injury. He looks to be moving okay.
Yeah, he definitely moves.
Court 1, 20 seconds. Court 1, 20 seconds.
We don't know whether he's holding anything back, but we can't see it at the moment.
No. Oh, he looks at now. You see, I've just spoken too soon because he looks a little gingerly in his movement, walking towards the court again. But hopefully he's all right.
(11-10) play.
So just the single point advantage in this opening game. Oh, that's delightful. Oh my goodness me, how did he get that back? Good rally.
Service over.
Well, we've talked an awful lot about this man.
11-all.
Let's just talk about Merrilees, because I've mentioned that fantastic result he had at the European Mixed Team Championships earlier this year. But he's a player, I said this to somebody once, and they really didn't get it. I think it was Morton I was working with at the time. He seems to have a really open shoulders on every overhead shot. And I tell you, he reminds me of a tennis player.
Serving. Exactly.
And which tennis player am I thinking of? Stefan Edberg.
Okay, I didn't get that, but definitely a tennis player. And
with that open shoulders.
Yeah, and his almost his palm of his hand pointing in right direction when he is about to hit an overhead shot.
Yeah. But it's very effective. I mean, he creates a lot of deception with it, doesn't he?
Yeah, generally, I don't like it because
it's too open.
I think it's too open. He'll have a hard time making a really good slice drop.
gone on.
Service
I'm
over.
wondering if the drift has
13,
changed a little bit,
12.
Steve.
It's the problem that it sometimes does here in Istoris and Iron, and creates a lot of insecurity with the players. So sometimes the players, they turn around to the coaches and says, hasn't the drift changed? And the only answer you can give them is, no, it hasn't.
Yeah.
Because if you start doubting, then you're definitely certain to lose. But it's challenging for Vittinghus playing a match like this. I mean, if it was normal Super Series, he would be satisfied.
14,
it was a good draw.
12.
He would
Yeah.
still have some challenges, because I actually think he's doing much better against better players, where he can sort of he doesn't have to control the rallies. He can play catch up a little bit. And that's what you mentioned in the beginning, that
Yeah.
he should be better at controlling matches.
Yeah, commanding the rallies. He's more reactive.
Yeah.
You know, anything that anybody throws at him, he seems to get back. He's, you know,
Yeah.
15,
he never really takes
12.
enough initiative himself. I always get that feeling, but given your explanation, I understand exactly what you're talking about, that it's not in his nature. And trying to change it now is desperately difficult.
And that's an interesting point, because we've talked about that he's a very nice person and so on, and sometimes it's actually a little bit of a disadvantage when you're playing
16,
if you're too nice.
12.
And I know that the Danish coaches back in the mid-90s, they worked a lot with Paul Kieran in getting him to be the killer, and we must say that they succeeded.
Yeah.
But, when you're on court, you can't feel sorry for anyone or be nice.
No. Well, I like the fact that Vittinghus initiated this match there. Merrilees, as we were watching that again, was asking the umpire for the court to be mopped, and initially the umpire said no. I could clearly see that Merrilees slipped as he was trying to retrieve that smash. So thankfully, the court has been mopped, because the last thing we need is any injuries.
We talked about that, Joe, when we were waiting to get on here for this match. No, for the
17,
match
12.
before that we could feel that it's gotten a little bit warmer inside the hall. And the umpires, they need to pick up on that as well, because the conditions are a little bit different today from yesterday, where there wasn't as many spectators here. So we'll definitely need more mopping today.
That's held up as well. The drift has definitely changed, in my opinion. That's landed in. Well, Vittinghus has just won 10 of the last 12 points. Oh, well taken. Goodness me, launching himself
19,
towards the net
12.
there, Vittinghus.
It looks full of confidence right now.
Yeah.
Wait.
Brilliantly taken. 11 of 13 points.
Okay. Service over. 13-19.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
Service over.
Very good shots from
20.
Vittinghus from
Game
the front
point,
court here.
13.
And the reason I mention that is that I feel that it's an area where he can still improve a little bit.
It's going wide.
Service over. 14-20.
Well in. Well played by Merrilees.
15-20.
that as he was holding a little bit back there, Vittinghus. Not giving everything physically.
Oh, good serve.
16.
Of course, if
20.
you've suffered a small injury a couple of days ago, perhaps 3 days ago, then you're a little bit wary when you're on court, and you'll be a little bit afraid when does it come back.
Oh, that's a good smash. And with it comes the opening game.
First game won by Hans-Kristian Vittinghus, 21-16.
21-16 confirms the umpire. Winning on his fourth game point opportunity. Yeah, moved back well.
Very tight net shot there.
Court 1, 20 seconds. Court 1, 20 seconds.
So the call of 20 seconds remaining, and that's a clear indication for the players to come back onto court. So Vittinghus coming from behind in that opening game.
Second game.
3-point deficit at one stage at
Love all.
6-9. And then
Play.
really walked home, having had the 1-point advantage at the mid-game interval. 21-16, that opening game. And it really did seem that after the mid-game interval, Vittinghus, as you were pointing out, Steen, maybe in his own mind, he realised that his back was okay and really began to sort of flow with his movement and his rhythm and style of play. Oh gosh, that is a difference in the drift, isn't it? We were seeing them flying way out, and that stayed way in. So what has Merrilees got to do now then? Was he doing the right sort of things in the opening game? Certainly the first half of the first game.
Yeah,
you know,
he was sort of getting along with his game. There wasn't being put a lot of pressure on him, but it's a little bit different now, because if we sort of agree that the drift has changed, then we have to find out, is there any change? Is there any drift, or has it just changed direction? If it's changed direction, then he could be playing up against the wind now, Merrilees, and then he should push Vittinghus to the backcourt corners with the flat pushes and look for like that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I hasten to add that we're high up in the stadium, and there's no way Mr. Merrilees could have heard us speaking there. But you're absolutely right. There you are, spot on again.
And sort of setting up attacking opportunities for himself. And that was long.
But
service
right
over.
idea?
3.
Yeah, right idea. I think Vittinghus should probably have that covered. I mean, straight smash down the line. Should not be able to go down unless it's really, really close to the line, touches the line.
Oh, and that's more like the drift that we know, that going
4-2.
I suppose if there's a door open somewhere
to the arena floor, then that can change the drift. Is it as simple as that, Steen, or?
Yeah.
What on earth has happened? I mean, it was...
Kieran, go.
Yeah, a little scratch of the head there from Vittinghus. He's not terribly sure either.
No, I'm trying to look a little bit on the other courts, but it doesn't really help because I have no idea how the wind was before on these courts, as we've been focusing on this court 1. And that's pretty consistent with what we've seen in the side drift going from left to right. So it can just be for a short moment that the drift has changed, and then suddenly it's back again, and it can create uncertainty amongst the players. So that's why I said, if they ask you as a coach, has the wind changed? Just tell them, no, it hasn't.
Yeah, and
even if it has, just make them believe that it's the same wind.
And to emphasize your point, I mean, that one drifted well long, so yes, it was only momentarily that which would add substance to my theory that a door opens somewhere and changes it for a minute or two. No, that's nicely done.
Service over 3-6.
Now,
4-6.
the slice there, I can see what you mean about the open shoulders, because in comparison to other players, virtually no slice. It was a slice, but not as vicious.
Straight.
Yes, too ordinary in comparison to other players.
On the other hand, his reverse slice from his backhand side will be really, really efficient.
Yeah.
The thing is that I feel that when you have a pre-shot routine like that, you will often hit with a lot of arm movement, and that's not really what you want to do. You want to be able to hit as quick as possible.
Kieran.
And now it's a little bit puzzling for Merrilees, because he made actually a quite good clear in the beginning of this game, and said, oh, I got that covered now. I have a feeling for the baseline, and now he's made 3 mistakes, 3 easy points, and that's pretty much what he's behind.
Smash.
Service over 5-8.
And he's got a good attack, Merrilees. On the other hand, Kenneth Jonassen, the Danish coach for Vittinghus, he's been national coach in England, so he should know Merrilees inside out.
Good point. Yeah, indeed. Based at Milton Keynes, where Merrilees spends an awful lot of his time. A service fault has been called, and the service judge just standing on his feet rather than sitting down, because the umpire didn't hear him. Didn't hear the call, but that has now been rectified.
And a very good action from the service judge to stand up.
Yep, indeed. Yeah, we had an instant, didn't we? You and I were commentating on during the Indonesian Open, where the umpire didn't hear the service judge call a fault, and so the point went the wrong way, which was not what was supposed to happen. Anyway, here we go. Good actions by our service judge on this occasion. Oh, guess right. Well done. Oh, that's quick, isn't it? Good follow-up.
Service over 10-6.
Kenneth Jonassen sitting further away from us. And Jakob Hansen, nearest to us. Does he work with all of the teams, Steen, the sports psychologist?
I don't think so. I don't think so. But I think he works with more players than only Vittinghus.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I don't imagine that there would be funds to fly him out here to Indonesia.
Yeah.
But I don't know exactly which players he works with, and I'm not sure that all players will tell if you ask them.
Yeah.
Service over.
Well,
7-10.
a half dive.
Yeah, but a very passive backhand shot as well.
Yeah.
Especially going up against the wind, it's much better using it when you're playing with the wind, because then you can get the correct length on the shot. But playing up against the wind, there's a good chance it'll be short and leave the opponents a good attacking opportunity.
So to the mid-game interval with a 4-point advantage.
Interval.
Hans-Kristian Vittinghus. 11-7. So Chris Burrell needs to give some advice that is somehow going to change the momentum of this match. Now, come on, Steen, I'm pushing you on my quiz.
Yeah, I know. And I have already got one wrong, that I thought it was Christian Hadinata, but it's not. And I just don't... my other bid is Lim Swee King, but I can't remember that he should have been playing mixed doubles.
Shall I put you out of your misery?
Yeah, please.
The three players...
I got a shot at the two women.
Okay,
I think I've narrowed them down to 3.
Yep.
One of them is Indonesian. At least one of them is Indonesian.
Yes, well done.
Probably... it's a 50-50. Imelda Viguino, Virawati Farin.
Verawati, well done, yes.
At least I got one.
Yep, and the other woman?
I just don't think Ra Kyung Min has won a ladies singles medal.
No, you're thinking in the wrong way.
Yeah.
Kieran, let's play.
No.
No?
No, I give up.
Gillian Gilks.
Gillian Gilks, yeah.
Silver medal in the women's singles in Malmo. Bronze in the women's doubles with a certain Jill Clark.
Yeah.
And a bronze in the mixed doubles with Martin Dew. And the man, as we're watching that one fall wide,
12,
I don't think he would have got. I think this is worth 2 cups of tea to me. Thomas Kihlstrom.
Thomas Kihlstrom, yeah, in 77. 77.
A bronze.
It was a bronze medal.
In the singles.
Yeah.
And gold in the mixed doubles in Copenhagen in 93. And of course, he medalled with Stefan Karlsson as well in men's doubles. Those are the 3. There we are.
I was trying to figure out who was the bronze medalist in men's singles in 77, but I couldn't get either one of them.
Yeah. Well, it is now or never as far as Merrilees is concerned. Got to start closing down this gap. And that's good judgment.
9-12.
Oh, it's just long. Oh, that's a pity from the Scottish perspective.
13,
that was good
9.
disguise on that from Merrilees.
Exactly.
Kieran.
And that's one of the keys to managing playing with the drift. Put a little bit of deception on your shots, because when you do that, you lose a little bit of power compared to using the arm a lot. So playing with natural deceptive shots should help you play in windy stadiums.
Oh, and another one goes just a fraction
14-9.
Well, if he really believed he could call for Hawkeye.
Yeah, but think how many shots Kieran Merrilees have put long here in the second game, and he's behind 9-14. I think at least we've counted 5 long shots from him.
Fault.
Nice.
Service over, 10-14. Hans, can I have you put your strap in?
Yeah, it's good transference of body weight, isn't it? The time he's landed, moving back forward in court. Oh, that's nice too.
11-14.
Yeah, a little shake of the head from Vittinghus. Is he a player that, does he beat up on himself?
Yes.
Yeah.
A lot. And I mean, he's leading 14-11 still. That's long. Definitely long. And he's got to the first game and leading now 15-11. So
why beat up on yourself?
Yeah, exactly. Why sort of get yourself in a negative run of points?
And it's so sort of out of character because,
16,
you know, he's such
11.
a nice man that, you know, you were talking a little earlier about trying to get him that killer instinct and how the Danish coaches managed to do that with poor Erik Høyer Larsen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fault. 17-11.
It's a good thing to be a little bit, or quite a bit, individualistic when you play the men's singles or women's singles. If it's too much, that's not nice. Then
Yeah.
But a bit of it is needed.
Oh,
Very good shot there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
18-11. Kieran. Kieran.
Yeah, you see, this winning shot from Vittinghus is the sort of shot that I love to see him play.
Yeah, exactly. These quick, steep attacks, and he's really got some powerful attacks. So it's about working
Service
a little bit
over,
with the shots
12,
leading up to the
18.
attack, being more aware of what he needs to do to create opportunities for himself instead of waiting for them to occur. Oh, that's cool.
Well, there's a challenge immediately.
Challenges called
It was called in. You thought it was out. Vittinghus definitely thought it was out. So we're going to ask Hawkeye to adjudicate. So the instant review system operated by Hawkeye. We've got cameras down each line. Well, the official for the instant review system wasn't actually in position, which is why we're having to wait for so long for the call to be made.
Challenge successful. Service over. 19-12. Play.
Well, I do think we need to get this sorted, don't we? Well, the call, it has been
called out.
Yeah, but we didn't see it.
We didn't see it, no.
No, okay.
13-19.
So you were absolutely right, Steen. Oh, that's gone wide.
I do like Merrilees' fighting spirit.
Yeah, and I think, you know, we've seen some improvements from both Merrilees and us happened to catch a glimpse of Toby Pentis' match. I don't know the result of it, but definitely played well.
So another British player that we're talking about. After the disappointment of the number 16 seeds, Decisive losing in the first round yesterday. Other British players
match point,
giving a good account of themselves, but for the Scottish number 1, now on the verge of being beaten by the number 14 seed. Well, now
service
5
over,
match point opportunities,
15,
were of course 6.
20.
Just wide, and that's it. Second time of asking, and Vittinghus closes out this first round match. 21-16, 21-15.
Match
The
won by
scoreline, and after
Hans-Kristian Vittinghus,
perhaps a little hesitant
21-16,
start, as he just
21-15.
tested that back injury. In the end, fairly comfortable for Vittinghus. This is the final rally. Wide rather than long, I think. Here we go. Yep, wide. So safely through to the second round, Vittinghus, where he will indeed play Sho Sasaki, the left-handed Japanese player. (21-16, 21-15) in 38 minutes to book his place in round number 2. So our next match, we turn our attention to women's singles, as indeed we do for the next 2 matches. And of course, the next match is the defending champion, Carolina Marin, who caused such a sensation in Copenhagen at the last World Championships. Since then, she's become the world number 1. She's up against TGE from Malaysia. After that, we've got Okuhara against Goranapasut of Thailand. So Carolina Marin, the first ever left-handed player to win the women's singles at the World Championships, the number 1 seed, up against TGE of Malaysia. So this, of course, is the top section of the draws. The number 1 seed is always the top of the draw. And you can see that TGE had to play yesterday. Now, if you were with us earlier, you will have seen that Pei Po of Chinese Taipei coming through against number 16 seed. Disappointment for the home fans with Maria Phoebe Kusumastuti going out in 3 games. And I guess that was perhaps a case of what Steen Peterson was alluding to during one of our earlier matches about the pressure